Hey everybody, I'm excited to make this video today because I get to talk about offensive lines. Yes, one of my favorite parts of football, watching the offensive line work and block, push people out of the way. And it's amazing to see really when you really understand the intricacies of what's going on there and how they work together and make a cohesive unit. And so, of course, with the Alabama and USC game coming up, we're going to talk offensive lines because there's a storyline here that's not being talked about much. But it's the fact that both Alabama and USC made changes in their coaching staff regarding the offensive lines for this upcoming year. I'll start with USC because I already talked about them in a previous video regarding their offensive line, but I just want to bring that back up so we can be familiar again. So last year, USC offensive line, they had talent, of course, and at times they looked a little shaky and people weren't sure. They got manhandled at times. I've heard in the Wisconsin game. So they decided to make a change. Clay Helton decided to bring in a new guy, uh, Neil Callaway, who was most recently with Western Kentucky, but also coached at various places. His time at UAB when he was the head coach probably wasn't the best in terms of record wise, but his offensive lines were always good. And that's something that I really respect about Nick Callaway, that his offensive lines, no matter what the talent level was, no matter how many stars the players had behind their name, he always had the offensive line playing really well. And so they're expecting him to continue that success here at USC using the talent that USC has on the offensive line and making them a good cohesive unit, hoping that they can block the big Alabama front that's going to be coming up against them. Alabama, on the other hand, as many Alabama fans will tell you, and as I will definitely tell you, the offensive line has not been up to par the last 3 years or so. And as some of you may find that weird, you're like, Derrick Henry rushed for 2,200 yards. Yeah, but the offensive line really wasn't that great when you look at it. They had trouble opening up holes. They'll blow up on the hole every once in a while, but the pass protection was suspect. Alabama really hasn't had a great offensive line since 2012 when we had Jeff Stoutland as the offensive line coach, and that was sad to see him go because he really did coach some great offensive lines. And before him was Joe Pendry, and he did a great job with the offensive lines, really making them powerful and blow people off the ball. And so when Jeff Stoutland left, we brought in Mario Cristobal, who is a great recruiter, but he doesn't seem to have the ability to coach the offensive line as well as those guys did before him. And I think it showed that every year since then. It got worse and worse. 13 to last year, the offensive line was just inconsistent. Pass protection was off, and sometimes they'll blow up in the hole for running, but it wasn't that much. So Saban brought in Brent Key, who was going to be the successor to George O'Leary down at UCF, but the new coach did not retain him. But he's going to come in and coach our interior offensive line. This is weird. Alabama's going to have two offensive line coaches, basically. Brent Key's going to do interior linemen, guards, and center. Mario Cristobal is going to do the tackles and tight ends. That's going to be really interesting. I want to see how that works out, how they work together, what are they going to do to make this offensive line get back to being really good like the ones of 08, 9, 11, and 12. Those were some good offensive lines. So hopefully we can get back to that standard of Alabama offensive lines. So the underplay storyline is that uh, in this game, we'll see which new offensive line coaching staff can make the most impact on their team. Will Neil Callaway have USC's offensive line up humming and running well? Or will Brent Key and Mario Cristobal have Alabama's offensive line running well? That is going to be really fun to see, and I'm looking forward to analyzing it. Thank you for paying attention today, guys.